even if this new unit of his was earning just as much mockery. Still, Quentin had earned his own considerable reputation as a solid investigator who preferred to work alone, and wasn't at all eager to either join a team or go public with abilities he had been at some pains to conceal. "So why are you telling me?" he asked.
"Thought you might be interested."
"Oh, yeah? I can't imagine why."
"Of course you can."
Bishop came into the room and sat down on the other side of the table, still wearing that faint, amused smile.
"You saw me coming.
Months ago? Years ago?" Refusing to reply to those dry questions, Quentin said, "I'm not on the clock, in case nobody told you that."
"What I was told was that you've spent at least 2 previous vacations here in Tennessee, in this same small town, probably sitting in this same seldom-used conference room of a police department that hasn't had to deal with much except traffic tickets, domestic disputes, and the odd bootlegger or meth lab in the last 20 years or so. Here you sit, going over the same old dusty files while the local cops shrug and keep the betting pool going."
"I hear the odds are tipping in my favor," Quentin said.
"They admire sheer persistence."
"Most cops do." Bishop nodded.
"And most cops dislike mysteries and unsolved cases." "So, is that why you're here?"
"You mean you don't know?" Quentin mocked. The mockery didn't appear to disturb Bishop in the least. "Matter of fact," he said, "I'm not clairvoyant. Not a seer, like you. And I'm a touch telepath, not an open one. Not that touching you would necessarily help me to read you. Virtually every psychic I've known has developed a shield to guard themselves." "Then you just assume I'm psychic, is that it?" Quentin had to ask, even though Bishop's specific reference to seer meant he was doing more than assuming.
"No, I know you're psychic. The same way you know I am, because we tend to recognize each other. Not always, but most of the time."
"So when do we exchange the secret handshake?"
"That would be just before I give you your decoder ring."
It surprised a laugh out of Quentin. He hadn't marked Bishop as a man with a sense of humor. "Sorry, but you have to admit an FBI unit made up of psychics is pretty off the wall. Almost comic book."
"It won't be one day."
"You really do believe that, don't you?"
"Science is understanding more every day about the human brain. Sooner or later, psychic abilities will be correctly classified as just another set of senses, like sight or hearing, just as normal and just as human."
"And you won't be head of the spooky crimes unit anymore?"
"Let's just say that it's only a matter of time before the doubts and disbelief are proven wrong. We only have to be successful."
"Ah, gee, is that all?" Quentin shook his head. "The closed case to open ratio in the FBI is running, what, about 40% right now?"
"The SCU will do considerably better than that."
Quentin wasn't sure what he would have replied to the other man's optimism, but an interruption presented itself when a member of the Leisure Police Department appeared in the doorway.
"Quentin, I know you're supposed to be on vacation,"
Lieutenant Nathan McDaniel said, with only a glance toward Bishop.
"But I thought you might be interested in this, and the chief okayed telling you."
"What's up, Nate?"
"We just got a call. A little girl's gone missing."
Quentin was on his feet immediately. "At the lodge?"
"At the lodge."
When the sprawling hotel had been built back around the turn of the 20th century, it had been christened with some grand-sounding name, now long forgotten. For more years than anybody remembered, it had been called simply the Lodge, and somewhere along the way the owners had given up and accepted that name. It had been a favored vacation spot of the rich and reclusive fairly consistently throughout its history, both for its grandeur and its isolation. Far from any major city, and with only a single winding, 2-lane blacktop ascending miles from the small town of Leisure, it was about as far from civilization as one could get, especially in these modern days of instant or near-instant communication. But for all its isolation, the lodge had more than its fair